The footage is still on my laptop. I've watched it maybe 200 times, and I still can't explain what I'm looking at. I manage a small storage facility outside of Reno. 24 units, a gravel lot, a chain link fence, and a camera system I installed myself 3 years ago. 8 cameras total. Wide angles, decent night vision, timestamp accurate to the second. It's not glamorous work. Mostly I review footage when a lock gets cut or someone complains about a neighbor's unit smelling strange. Routine. That word meant something to me before this. It happened on a Tuesday in late November. 14 inches the morning. Camera 4 faces the east corridor, a straight concrete walkway between 2 rows of units, roughly 40 meters long, lit by a single overhead strip light. At 2 hours 14 minutes and 8 seconds, a woman walks into the frame from the left. Dark coat, pale hair pulled back, moving at a normal pace. Nothing unusual about her gait. Nothing unusual about her at all. Except at 2 hours, 14 minutes, and 19 seconds, 11 seconds after she enters the frame, she walks directly into the wall of Unit 17. Not through a door. Not around the corner. Into the solid metal wall. And she doesn't come out the other side. She doesn't fall. She doesn't stop. She just continues walking, and the wall accepts her like water. I thought it was a camera malfunction. I pulled up camera 5, which covers the rear face of that same row. 2 hours, 14 minutes, and 19 seconds. Empty corridor. Camera 3, north entrance. Empty. Camera 2, south lot. Nothing. She entered the corridor. She did not exit it by any route any camera could see. I went out there at 7 a.m. when it was light. Unit 17 was padlocked from the outside, had been since the tenant vacated it 4 months prior. I opened it. 300 square feet of bare concrete. A dead moth in the corner. Nothing else. I posted the footage to 3 separate forums, asking for explanations. Lens flare. Pixel corruption. A smear artifact from the night vision sensor. People tried hard. I tried hard. The thing is, and this is the part I keep coming back to, her shadow moves correctly the entire time. Up until the wall. It stretches behind her under the strip light at exactly the right angle. Pixel corruption doesn't cast a shadow. Lens artifacts don't have hair. I still check camera 4 every morning before I do anything else. I don't know what I'm looking for. I think I'm checking that she hasn't come back out. My brother works night security at a logistics warehouse in Ohio. He's been doing it for 6 years. Not excitable. Not superstitious. The kind of man who falls asleep during horror movies and calls it a nap. Which is exactly why I believed him when he called me at 4 a.m. shaking. The warehouse runs 32 interior cameras and 4 exterior ones. Everything feeds to a central monitor station where my brother sits during his shift. He does patrol laps every 2 hours. The rest of the time it's screens and silence. He told me it started with a flicker on camera 9, the one covering the long center aisle between shelving units B and C. Just a single frame stutter. He almost didn't notice it. But my brother has a habit, has always had it, since he was a kid, of pausing things when something feels wrong. He backed up the feed, stepped through it frame by frame. In frame 841, there was a man standing at the far end of the aisle. He wasn't in frame 840. He wasn't in frame 842. One single frame, roughly 1/30th of a second, and in it, a man was standing at the end of aisle BC, facing the camera, with his arms at his sides. My brother said the man was wearing a gray uniform, similar to what facility staff wear, but the wrong shade, somehow. Too pale. And his face. My brother said the face was the part he couldn't describe properly. Not obscured. Not blurry. Just wrong. Like someone had described a human face to an artist who had never seen one. He did his patrol lap. Aisle BC was empty. He checked the access logs. No one had badged into the facility since 11 p.m. He was alone. When he got back to the monitor station, he went through the full night's footage on camera 9. 8 hours of an empty aisle. Shelving units. Fluorescent flicker. Stillness. Except at 1:17 a.m. and at 2:53 a.m. and at 3:40 a.m. 3 more single frames. Same man. Same position. Same gray uniform. Each time a 1/30th of a second intrusion into footage that was otherwise completely uninterrupted. He sent me screenshots. I've looked at them under every Zoom setting I have. My brother quit that job 2 weeks later. He said it wasn't the man in the footage that finally did it. It was when he realized, scrolling back through older archive footage out of morbid curiosity, that the same single-frame figure appeared in camera 9 recordings going back at least 14 months. Long before my brother ever took the job. Same frame rate. Same position. Same face. Showing up in one frame at a time, roughly every hour, every single night. For over a year. As if checking in. As if keeping count of something. I used to think the people who talked about timeline loops were just looking for something to believe in. I said that out loud once, at a party, fairly confidently. That was before my doorbell camera showed me the same morning happening twice. I live alone in a townhouse in Portland. I work from home, which means my days have a rhythm not exciting but consistent. Coffee, laptop, the mail carrier at 10:30, the neighbor's dog at 11. I installed a video doorbell 2 years ago, mostly because packages kept disappearing from the porch. On the second Tuesday of March, I was at my desk when I got an alert. Motion detected. I checked the app. The mail carrier, a woman I recognized, same route for 3 years, red vest, silver hair, was at my box. 10:31 a.m. I watched her slot something in, walk away, and disappear around the hedge at the corner of the frame. Completely normal. 40 minutes later, I got another alert. I checked the app. The mail carrier was at my box. Red vest. Silver hair. 11:12 a.m. She slotted something into the mailbox, walked away, and disappeared around the hedge. I thought she'd made a second pass. Happens sometimes, packages that need signatures, oversized items. I went to the door. One piece of mail. I went back inside and pulled up the side-by-side recordings. And I sat there for a long time staring at my screen. Because the two clips were not similar, they were identical. Not just the same woman doing the same motion. The same woman doing the same motion in the same way, pausing at the same moment to brush something off her sleeve, taking the same number of steps to the hedge, turning her head at the same angle before going out of frame. I overlaid them in a video editor. They synced frame for 22 seconds until the second clip ended 3 seconds earlier. I called the postal service. They confirmed she had completed her route that day with no second pass on my street. She had been on the other side of the district by 11 a.m. I flagged the footage and sent it to 3 people who work in video forensics. No copy-paste artifact. No loop in the file. 2 separate motion detection events, 2 separate timestamps, 2 pieces of genuinely generated footage that were physically identical down to the individual frame. One of the forensics people called me and was quiet for a moment before saying, "The metadata confirms these are 2 independent recordings." Then he said, "I don't know what you have here." And then he didn't call back. I still get mail at 10:31. I haven't had a second alert since. But I check. Every day at 11, I check. Because I know now that the recording doesn't lie, and that whatever played on my porch a second time that morning was real enough to trigger a sensor, real enough to cast a shadow, real enough to turn its head. I quit my grocery store job over footage that my manager refused to let me copy. She said the system had a glitch. She said it with the tone of someone reading from a script they'd been handed. I was a closing supervisor at a mid-sized grocery chain in Minnesota. Part of the job was reviewing overnight camera footage every Friday to check for inventory tampering, slip and fall incidents, anything that might become a liability. 22 cameras throughout the store. I'd done it every week for 2 years without incident. The footage that stopped me was from aisle 7. Canned goods and dry pasta. Lit 24 hours, even when the store was closed, because that section backed up against the loading bay and the light bled through. On the overnight footage from a Wednesday in January, at 3:07 a.m., something changed in aisle 7 that I cannot rationalize. The aisle looks normal. The shelves are stocked. The floor is clean. And then, between one frame and the next, the aisle is longer. Not slightly longer. I mean, the perspective shifts. What was a roughly 12-meter aisle with a clearly visible end cap at the far end becomes something that recedes into a distance the camera shouldn't be able to see. The shelves continue. The strip lighting continues. The floor continues. And, at the end of this extended aisle, far enough away that the image compresses into almost nothing, there is a figure standing between the shelves. Still, facing the camera. Too far away to identify. Just a shape. It lasts 4 seconds. At 3 hours, 7 minutes, and 14 seconds, the aisle snaps back to its normal dimensions. The end cap is there again. The figure is gone. The shelves are stocked exactly as they were. I watched it 11 times before I called my manager. She came in early, watched the footage once, and told me it was a camera distortion caused by a firmware update. She said the vendor was aware. She said it was being addressed. I asked her why the figure at the end of the aisle cast a shadow. She looked at me and she said, "Don't pull that footage again." Not, "There is no figure." Not, "You're imagining things." Don't pull that footage again. I gave my notice that Friday. I have no idea what was in aisle 7 at 3:07 a.m. on a Wednesday in January. I have no idea how the space inside that camera's field of view extended beyond the physical walls of the building. But I know that my manager had seen it before. I could tell by the way she didn't flinch. You don't have a practiced answer for something you're seeing for the first time. That steadiness she had. That wasn't composure. That was familiarity. I have the timestamps. I have the original files. I have shown them to 3 people who work with cameras professionally. None of them will go on record about what they saw. My husband travels for work environmental consulting, field surveys, long stretches in areas with poor connectivity. We have a camera system at our house in rural Vermont. 4 exterior cameras, 1 interior covering the front hallway. It's been there since we moved in. I check it occasionally when he's away, mostly out of habit. He left for a 12-day survey in late October. I watched his truck pull out of the driveway at 6:14 a.m. I watched it on the camera footage later, just to have something to do. He waved at the camera before he got in the truck. He always does. On day 4 of his trip, he was 600 miles away. I had a voice call with him at 9 p.m. to confirm. The hallway camera recorded him coming home. Not someone who looked like him. Not a shadow or a shape. My husband. His face, his coat, the brown waxed canvas jacket he hadn't taken on the trip because the weather was warmer than expected. His particular way of rolling his shoulder when he shrugs off a bag. The camera recorded him entering the front hallway at 11:42 p.m. He went into the kitchen. He stood at the counter for about 90 seconds. I can see his back. He appears to be just standing there, not eating, not drinking, not doing anything visible. Then he walked back down the hallway, past the camera, and out the front door. He didn't turn the lights on. He didn't speak. He didn't check his phone. He just stood at the counter in the dark, in a jacket he had left behind, for 90 seconds. And then he left. I called him immediately. He was in his sleeping bag in a tent outside of Bangor. He sounded half asleep. He had not left Maine. When he came home on day 12, I showed him the footage. He watched it twice, and then he watched it again with the lights on. Neither of us said anything for a while. Then he said, "That's my jacket." I know it's his jacket. The jacket was hanging on the hook in our hallway the entire time he was gone. I checked it after I watched the footage. It was still there, hanging exactly where it always hangs. Somehow, something wore my husband's face and his jacket inside my house for 90 seconds at midnight, while my husband was asleep in a tent 600 miles away. It didn't disturb anything. It didn't take anything. It didn't seem to know it was being recorded. It just stood in my kitchen in the dark, like it was remembering something, or rehearsing. Even the darkest stories leave something behind. Stay with me. There are more stories.